now start our first panel. As the slide says, Traffic Leads Conversion BuyerLink. Now, BuyerLink, quite simply, is a program which directs a prospective buyer who's chosen a specific city in which they want to view active listings to an agent or broker's website. Our speaker this morning is Mitch Riback with eHomes Realty Network and Tropical Realty of Sundre in Melbourne, Florida. Now, as we all know, Florida is possibly not the hottest market in the country. However, Mitch is scheduled to close 350 transactions this year and attributes 90% of his business to BuyerLink. Thank you. Our first panelist is Linda Davis. Now, Linda is a broker with Remax Realty Group in Eastern Connecticut. She sold real estate in Ledyard, Connecticut for over 30 years. She's been a broker with Remax since 1985 and received that company's Lifetime Achievement Award. She's active in her local board of realtors, having previously served as president. Linda is past recipient of the Realtor of the Year Award. With an efficient team of 3 buyer's agents and 1 administrative assistant, she was able to close 120 transactions in a single year. Last year, she sold her office and now works exclusively as a listing agent, but still uses HomeGain to create referrals for an additional source of income. Our second panelist is Dave Marin. Dave is the co-founder of real estate technology company Sphere Builder, LLC, and real estate brokerage First and Elm Realty in the San Francisco East Bay. Online lead generation is his primary source of business for both his and his company's real estate sales. Prior to co-founding these 2 companies, Dave was a broker with Keller Williams Realty and executive with Zip Realty.
All right, how are we all doing? Okay? Excellent. So this is the first time in my life I've worn a suit, which I mentioned yesterday. It's very, Florida, you don't wear suits, so we barely get dressed. Yes, my birthday suit, yes. This is a really, cool thing that they're doing today for us, and I welcome the opportunity that Lewis has given us to come up and explain to you some of the things that we do to become successful using the HomeGain products. Before I start and we get into some of the slides with my handy-dandy clicker here, I just wanted to give you a little quickie on how I became a HomeGain member, because I was pretty much doing my own thing, Google and Yahoo, spending 10 grand a month and doing extremely well, very successful with it. And one of Lewis's salespeople called me up, and I must have gotten 50 calls a week from people trying to sell me stuff, as I'm sure you all do. And I gave him about 45 seconds of my time and hung up and say, yeah, whatever. And then I actually thought about it. I was spending $2 a click on Yahoo and Google, again, spending 10 grand a month. And they were telling me 79 cents to 99 cents a click. They'll send traffic to my site. I didn't buy it. But as I thought about it, I said, well, I'm spending so much money, why not try it? So I gave him $1,000, and I remember going to my lead coordinator, and she just looked at me and goes, what'd you do? I'm like, I'm just trying something. She goes, leads are going through the roof. I'm like, no way. And we went and it's pretty funny. Within 2 weeks, I got my 10 grand a month. And it was a pretty cool thing. To date, last year, as Lewis said, we closed over 282 transactions. Almost all of our business comes from BuyerLink. In fact, I don't do Google and Yahoo at all anymore. I used to supplement with Google and Yahoo, and I said, why waste my money on it? And this year, we're on track to close 350 transactions, which is pretty amazing, considering almost all my agents that are successful never sold a home before. So I think it's pretty interesting when you take a group of people who've never sold homes and put them into a good system, which we have, and using the BuyerLink product. And we're going to get into some of the reasons why that's such a successful product for us today. So we'll click and see what happens. Basically what's going to happen, and being the first group, this is always fun because we don't really know what we're doing. So I'm going to basically talk for a second and then let my panelists go on and go a little further into what we're saying. But as I said, the problem with Google and Yahoo is uneducated realtors. And if you know anything about pay-per-click, by the way, how many people here do pay-per-click? Google and Yahoo? Right. How many people do BuyerLink? Same people? Okay. So you probably know what I'm talking about already. But for those of you, obviously most of the room doesn't do any type of pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is so predictable, it's great, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. The biggest thing about Google and Yahoo is you have uneducated realtors who bid the prices up. And right now in my area, an average click is $3 to $4. My average home price is $140,000. At a $3 to $4 click through, you just can't make any money. Most of those people will never ever succeed in this business using the internet because of that. Their cost is just too high. So again, using the HomeGain value in our area, 99 cents. I think I'm paying 99 cents a click to $3 or $4. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. Anything on that? Google and Yahoo?
Well, I hesitate to admit that I use Google and Yahoo because that, by definition, means I'm uneducated. But, so I saw some people were a little hesitant to raise their hand. But it's okay. It's okay to admit. But I can share some of the same experience that Mitch has. I'm in the Bay Area here, and I don't have a $3 or $4 click on Yahoo. It's more like $1.25, which seems pretty reasonable. And I think what you're talking about on the uneducated, that seems like a great way to generate traffic. But the thing that I don't think people understand is the registration rate, which is on Google is a third. I get a third registration rate from Google that I do from HomeGain. So you're probably going to get into that. I don't want to jump ahead, but
I'm not sure.
my registration rate with BuyerLink is about 16%, which is really, really high, and my Google reg rate is 6%. So.
Linda?
Oh, I'm not uneducated because I've never used Google
Excellent.
or Yahoo. I immediately knew it was a good thing when I saw it and heard it, so I jumped right in. And my market is a very different market from these gents. I'm in a little tiny town in Ledyard, Connecticut, population 15,000, so I represent a whole different group of folks and people that buy houses, but the quality of the clicks is definitely the name of the game with HomeGain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to reiterate, because I should have mentioned the registration. Basically, I was paying double the money for half the registrations. So I pay half the money now for double the registrations. Does that make sense? But it's huge. A lot of people these days are into social media. I'm personally not, and I don't want to get into a lot of that today because there are some definite great aspects of social media. Facebook, though, they have a great pay-per-click program. It's very affordable, very target marketed. However, it doesn't produce clicks. So what does that benefit to you? The benefit is name recognition. I got, I think, 4 million people in the past 3 months have saw my ad for less than $1,000. So don't use it for clicks; doesn't work. But use it for name recognition. You guys tried that at all?
No.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny. It's a cool thing to look at. The predictability, that's probably, and the no competition. Let me just talk on that for a minute, because that's a huge aspect of what we do. I know every single year exactly how many sales I'm going to get. Last year I predicted 250. We had 280. All right, I was off a little bit for a positive thing. This year we're projecting 350. We should be right, pretty close on that number. And the beauty of using BuyerLink is you don't have any competitors. I mean, you might have other people signed up for it in your area, but when you're the person getting the traffic at that moment, you're the only person getting that. So picture a person going to Google and Yahoo, and you've all done that. You've put in, Melbourne real estate, and there's first page is 15 people on there, including the sponsored listings, and you're fighting with all these people to get that person. When you're in HomeGain BuyerLink, you have no competitor. That traffic goes directly to your IDX. And by the way, just kind of, I'm a little scattered person, as you'll figure this out. How many people here do forced registration? How many people are against it? There you go, Juan. How many people don't want to raise their hand?
Come on, Pat. You want to raise your hand there. Pat Catano.
I've got to touch on that a little bit because it's a huge factor on your success with the BuyerLink program. And honestly, any internet marketing. If you're out there doing any marketing online and not creating registration. Now, I know I'm going off a little bit, but that's what I do. The problem with people not forcing registration is you're waiting for them to hit a contact me button, right? And you figure, well, they'll contact me if they really want me. Well, in the end, and I tried that, by the way. It's not like I didn't test things. I'm a tester. We got about 0.5% lead capture when we did that, 0.5%. Nobody clicks it. And the few people that did, by the way, were great leads. We sold probably about 30% of those people. But when I started adding the forced registration, automatically I went from 0.5% to 8% on Google and Yahoo. And so, 1 out of 40, 1 out of 50 leads at the time. And now we're down to 1 out of 30 or better. But the point of the matter is you're leaving so much business on the table. And everybody's afraid to do it because they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And my point on this, and I love your points on this, is you either run it like a business or don't run it like a business. Your job as a business person is to create lead flow. That's a business. I know as a realtor it's a fine line. But as a business, you create leads and you capture leads and you turn those leads into sales. So if you're not forcing registration, you're leaving so much money on the table and so much business on the table because you're afraid to hurt someone's feelings. I used to have an issue with it when I first started because everybody told me don't do it. And when I did it and like my sales went up, unbelievable, I realized that this is a business and I got to run it like a business. For those 85 people that don't register on my site, I don't worry about it. I worry about those 15 people that do out of 100. You guys have any thoughts on registration?
Well, I think the term forced registration...
It's a mean word, yes.
It's a bit harsh.
Mm-hmm.
The truth of the matter is that people don't have to use their real name or their real phone number. But the interesting thing is most people do.
Yes, they do.
And a lot of them give their real phone number, and a lot of them, when you call, they say, "Oh, we were waiting for your call." Now, it's certainly not the largest percentage of them, but that is a big segment of those people that you end up selling to. So I don't like forced. I mean, most people are savvy enough now to put in Mickey Mouse if they really don't want
we
contact.
sold Mickey Mouse a house, actually.
Did you?
Yes.
Very good.
Concur with both you guys. I do have registration required in order to search the MLS. My bogus registration rate's about 25 to 30%. Will give fake information, and that's fine. When I started doing this, when I got a bogus registration, I delete them from my system, and then I thought, why would I do that? It doesn't cost me anything to keep them in there, so I let them play around. And on my site, if they want to request information or schedule a visit, they get an opportunity to maybe correct the mistake that they made when they registered. And sometimes they do, and that's probably how you sold Mickey Mouse a home.
They did, yes.
So there's ways around it, and people are kind of used to it, as Linda said. If they want to remain anonymous, they will. They'll just give you bad info.
Yeah, we've been trying. We have Goopy in our system. We haven't sold them yet, but we're gonna. Being in Disney World area, it's pretty easy. But yeah, it's something. If you're not doing it and you want to talk about it later, feel free to come up to me and ask me about it, or any of us, because it's a huge thing. And by the way, 25% of my sales come from leads with no phone numbers. Interesting fact. Next place, more traffic. That's not pay per click. There's other ways of getting lots of traffic to your site that are not pay per click. I've tried them. I do some of them. I just attended a seminar up in Vancouver Island with some of the people here, Wayne and Brian. And, they do great SEO stuff. I don't have the patience for it. I'm pretty ADD, if you haven't figured that out yet. And SEO, if you're going to do that, Eric Blackwell, which I don't know if he's here right now, Eric is going to be talking about SEO later, and he's phenomenal on it, on how to do it. The downside to SEO, in my point of matter, is predictability and time taking to do it. I don't have the time. Again, with some people, that's not an issue. For me, it is, because I work 80 hours a week doing what I'm doing. I don't want to add another 10 hours a week to my time, if that's what it takes. Have you guys tried SEO at all?
Well, I'm getting about 50% of my registrations on my IDX site from my blog and about 50% from HomeGain.
Good.
So I'm running about 50-50.
Just about all our traffic comes from paid sources, so not really spending any time on SEO. But I am coming around to it.
Yeah.
But 5 years too late, but I'm coming around.
Yeah, and by the way, and I'm working on it as little as I do, but the idea, and a lot of people say to me, well, if you get really good at SEO, are you going to still do BuyerLink? Of course I am. I know every month I'm going to spend my $6,000 and generate $130,000, $140,000, $150,000 a month in income. I'm not going to throw that away because I all of a sudden got leads from from the internet without having to pay for them. I prefer the predictability. Affiliate marketing. This is a really cool thing, and Brad had brought this up a few minutes ago about affiliate marketing. And this is one of the things we're just starting to do in my office. as with Brad, I was one of the innovators of affiliate marketing back in 1995, before affiliate marketing was actually a way to do anything with my first internet company. And once you have the ability to create a capture page, an IDX search page, you can actually take that page and put it on any sites that you want. For instance, I just worked out a deal with BrevardCounty.com, which gets 30,000 unique visitors per month, and my IDX page is now on their site as they're searching for real estate in our area. And I don't get anything. I don't pay for it. I'm not really sure why they do it, but they do. The other thing you can do if you're in an area that has a lot of, what do they call it, feeder states? Like our feeder states are not, New York, Boston, of course, Connecticut, California, Ohio, all the cold areas, and Californians because they're not really sure what they're doing in life. And and so we're actually working now. We have a group of realtors that their only job is to find companies to say search for homes in Florida on their websites, comes to our IDX page, and capture leads. And with that, what we do is we let them have a copy of the lead so they can try to get the listing, and then we pay them a 25% referral fee if we get a sale from it. So again, part of being really successful in internet marketing is being creative and taking things from other industries that nobody does and trying to put them into our industry. That's kind of how I've always run my businesses, and real estate's no different. You guys tried any strange stuff like that?
Nothing that would be interesting to anybody here.
We'll leave that one alone. Finally, link exchanges. Honestly, I was totally against link exchanges up until this weekend. And after learning a little bit how that does help your SEO, I realized that's probably a good idea to do link exchanges. I wouldn't put them on my homepage. But again, if you have companies that are in, if you have feeder states, this is the only way I would do it, because obviously non-competing areas. But it doesn't hurt to have a page of links of feeder state realtors around the country. And again, you do a link exchange. If someone's moving from Florida to North Carolina, we get a lot of that back and forth from there. Or people that get homesick from New York. Boston people don't, but New York people get homesick. So they go back up to New York because they want their coffee. Can't leave Lewis alone, sorry. So link exchanges could work well in that. I will give you one word of advice on anything on your site. If you do link exchanges, make sure, and this with any links on your site, make sure they open in another browser. Huge thing. A lot of people, and if you go on your website, I'll guarantee you half your people here have links that go directly to the person's site. So you have a mortgage partner, and they click on the link on your website. They go directly to their site, and they're off your site now. Right? Does anybody have that issue? Do you know? Probably not. But take a look at that when you go home today. It's a really huge factor that I've been touting since I got in the business in 95 or 96 with internet. Anyways, it's good stuff, but be careful how you do it. Lead conversion. All right, this is probably the hardest thing that everybody does or anybody wants to do with BuyerLink product or any type of leads that you capture. And by the way, any lead that comes to you should be put into a conversion system. If you don't currently have a system, you need to develop one. We'll give you a couple of ideas right now on how I handle it, and then I'll let the panelists talk about how they handle it. But to me, lead conversion is it. If you don't, you can capture 1,000 leads a month, but if you don't know how to convert at least 30 or 40 of those to sales, you're missing the boat. And that's kind of what we've really perfected. So the first thing that we do is we don't require registration of a phone number. 50% of the people do give us their phone numbers. When we did require it, 50% of us gave us bad phone numbers. And it was just causing extra time for my agents, so I decided to stop doing that. But we call everybody within usually 12 hours, but no more than 24 hours if they have a phone number. I've talked to people that think you should call within 30 seconds, a minute. A lot of people have that philosophy. I personally don't, because I have the whole Big Brother is watching thing. But if you're getting leads and you're not calling them for 3 or 4 days, throw it away. It's not worth your time. People, they're already on to another site, and someone else has probably called them at that point. Call your leads right away. Huge. We send every lead, I'm sure a lot of you are single agents, but we send everybody a thank you letter within, our system does it within 30 minutes, but I would do it, if you don't have a system in place, to do it automated, to do it as quickly as possible. Send a thank you letter, just thanking them for using the site and letting them know what's going to happen. I'm going to set you up in a listing search. I'm going to be calling you shortly to discuss your leads. This is huge stuff that nobody does. It's really, really good stuff. Send it as quickly as you can. Do not call the person right away. I know, contrary to what everybody says. within a short period of time, preferably, usually 15 minutes to a half hour, an hour, send a list of properties that match their criteria and set them up in an automatic listing system. Now, before I spent a gazillion dollars on my software to build an automation system, we did this manually forever, from 2002 till last year, 2008, when we launched our software in-house. We built our company extremely well. If you don't have the ability to do drip email systems, send them a newsletter once a month. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give you the biggest secret I have, so write this down. Send out every 6 weeks a just checking in letter. And this letter, and anybody who in my system knows this, Brian, the most important thing you can do is every 6 weeks send out a list saying just checking in, making sure you're getting my updates. If there's anything I can do, let me know. I get almost all my business from that letter. All right? But the key is having listing updates. So a lot of people will sit there and make a phone call and never get a hold of their customer. And then they just kind of forget about that customer. Or they don't provide a phone number and they don't do anything with it. You have to be proactive with these leads. If I didn't, I'd lose 75 sales this year, the people that didn't give me phone numbers. All those people are setting up their listings update every lead we get. And it's a lot of work, by the way. It's not easy. But your alternative is to go out there and look for business when it's sitting on your laptop and you can do it in your underwear. A lot more fun. So that's real. I mean, there's a whole lot more involved to this. But if you just did those few things there, you'll see your lead conversion rate jump through the roof. I guarantee it. You guys, any concepts of how you guys should do your lead conversion?
Sure. Again, I'm working with very different numbers than Mitch, but I worked with 3 buyer agents and 1 assistant, and we did about 120 transactions. And the way we're able to do that, which I think is pretty efficient, is because we had really good systems. And so I use BirdView technology as my IDX site, and the buyer signs on. They automatically sign on for their listing update, so they get their listings as they hit the market. BirdView, and I'm sure other IDX sites for a team, allows the site to automatically assign the buyer to a buyer's agent. I chose not to do it that way. I chose the buyer's agent who would get the customer. Now, there were certainly customers that were better suited for certain agents, and sometimes you can read that in their remarks or just depending on what area they were looking for. So I was very selective of who I assigned people to. I had an agent that was particularly good with first-time buyers. So if somebody signed on in a lower price range, she tended to get most of those leads. The phone calls made within 24 to 36 hours. We do an automatic drip campaign. The letter is very similar to one we do. And then we did one more thing because I always thought it was important to touch people in different ways. People respond differently to different ways of contact. We also sent out a postcard. Now, see, I could do that because I'm not looking at the kind of numbers Mitch is. So we actually sent a postcard out to every person that registered that said, thank you for visiting our website. Here's some other websites in the area you may find useful. And we sent out that postcard. And so we have a pretty good success ratio. I did sell my real estate office a year ago. How lucky was I to do that in this market? And also dissolved my team. And I'm using HomeGain a little bit differently now than probably just about anyone else. I didn't drop HomeGain when I sold my team. I only list now. I only list. I use it as a referral base. So I actually have the same 3 buyer's agents that I had that were part of the team. And when I set them free to become real agents in the office, they still depend on me for their business. And now I do it as a referral rather than as part of the team and pay their expenses.
Mitch is right, and so is Linda, about having a system. We employ a lot of technology. One of my other companies is a technology company. We have thousands of agents who use our CRM system, and we kind of use it. We practice what we preach. Like Mitch said, everybody who registers gets a phone call within about an hour, depending on the time of day that they register. And I would say that about 50% of our conversions are the result of that initial engagement, where we build the rapport and establish a relationship on the phone. they are expecting you to call if they give you a phone number. And when you call, have something relevant to say. It's not just, hi, how can I help you? We have a little bit of the big brother thing. I know what houses they've clicked on. I know if they've emailed a listing to somebody. I know if they've printed a property. We don't say, hey, Louis, thanks for visiting our site. I saw that you printed that property on Mason, because the phone call is really, really short. That's called stalking. So if you're going to be a stalker, be a smart stalker.
That's right.
All right?
I like that.
And that probably just was Twittered to about 1,000 people. And Mitch said that, not me.
Me for everything. It's
anyway,
okay.
have something relevant to say. Know the market. You have to know the market in order to have something relevant to say. But make the phone call. People are glad to get it. They really are. I've made thousands of these phone calls. I still sell. I'm a very active broker myself. Nobody's ever mad when you call. They're surprised if you don't.
Yeah.
And then the automatic listings is probably the other 50% of my conversion. So I'm really intrigued by your just checking in email. I made a note, and I'm going to be registering on your site as Mickey Mouse to get those. Because that's key. That's fantastic. But the other 50% is just opt in. They're getting the listing alerts. The lag time is long. They registered 6 months ago. They've been searching somewhat anonymously, and all of a sudden they raise their hand. Can you send me more information on that? Or better yet, I'd like to see that. And like Linda, I have 10 agents who I refer the business out to. They're very close. We have a very close relationship with them. They don't necessarily work for First and Elm. They work for other brokerages. But we're probably half their business any given year. So they're very close to us. We send them that lead, if you will. We call them an opportunity when they want to see a house. But follow-up's key. Make the phone call. Have a system that sends out the listing alerts, and respond. When somebody sends in a form saying, I'd like to see a house, you better be all over it. That's when speed is really, really important.
Could I just add, some people are really good at making these phone calls and some people aren't. I would be really bad at it. I'm not good at small talk, but I have one of my buyer's agents, boy, if I could give her every lead, I would. She'll know their life story after the first 20 minutes. And those are the kind of people you want, or if you're good at that yourself. But there are some people that just can instantly get that rapport and capture customers that way.
Yeah. One thing that you're hearing from all three of us is one word that 99% of the realtors don't have: systems. I mean, it really comes down to it. If you're going to be a business, I said it before, and I know I'm preaching, but because it just aggravates me when I see realtors complain about not being successful with either HomeGain or just in real estate or any business in their life. It's all about systems. I'm going to give you guys a book to read if you haven't read it. It's my favorite book in the world. It's called E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And it basically teaches you how to become the McDonald's of whatever business you are. To me, and there's a lot of stuff to go through still, sorry. To be really successful in business, you have to have systems. Read E-Myth. Okay, I'm going to just give you a couple of advices. And by the way, I could talk about this for 4 hours. There's so much to talk about, and if you know me, you know I can, right, Wayne? Where's your wife? She'll tell you that. Anyways, if you're going to do BuyerLink, by the way, if you're not doing BuyerLink, you're missing the boat on business. I'm not preaching because I want to sell BuyerLink. I'm preaching it because I do it every day, and that's the beauty of everybody here today. We all do what we do every day as a business. I don't just come up here and sell BuyerLink. Do it for at least 6 months. If you're going to do it for 2 months, you're wasting your money. Sorry, Louis. But it's really about giving it anything you try enough time to make it work. If you don't do a $50 a month buy, it's not going to generate enough business for you. You want to at least do, my guess, 150, 250. You want to generate at least 40 or 50 leads a month. 'Cause it's going to take you one sale out of 30, 40, or 50 leads. If you do a good job, if you follow some of the stuff we talk about today. Work every lead like it's a potential customer. A lot of agents, and this has been a problem in my office, they look at their leads and they cherry pick. And those are the agents that have 3 or 4 sales this year that have been just let go, actually. They just let go half my staff. It's pretty fun. My business coach made me do it. That's what I told him. My agents that work hard and have already had 16, 18, 20 sales this year all work their systems extremely. They work every lead like it's a sale. Be prepared to work hard. There's no way of doing business without working hard. You know, I love the old adage of, well, you don't have to work hard to be successful. Work harder, not smarter, or smarter, not harder. Bunch of bull. You have to work hard. This is not an easy business. You all know that. In my area, we're a small county. We had almost 6,000 realtors. Now we have 3,000. A lot of them are falling apart in this economy, which we love. But you've got to work. You got to work hard. Even leads with no phone numbers, very important. 25% of my sales, come from that. If you set them up in listing updates in the drip campaign to get that just checking in letter, we actually send those letters a whole other drip campaign based on getting them to contact us. It does extremely well for us. This is my favorite one, and I tell this to agents all around the country. Most realtors, and you all know this, will look at a lead. Oh, wait, before I say that. The stats, just, an average lead, I just did these stats, takes 180 and a half days to convert. Now, I just took 100 of my first couple hundred sales this year, and we used those numbers. I always tell people it's 4 to 6 months, but I never really knew. It's kind of winging it. It is 180 and a half days for a lead to come to become a sale. Interesting stat. And what do most agents think about a lead that's going to buy in 6 months? Well, call me in 6 months when you're ready to buy, right? We look at every lead as the opportunity to create a great relationship. When we get a lead, we say, wow, we got 4 to 6 months to build customer loyalty. And that's what we do. It's huge. Any comments on that stuff, guys?
Well, the time is so true. I mean, we have people that buy a year or 2 years after they have registered on the site. So you really can't give up on them. I mean, if they're still on the site receiving listings every day, they're probably still interested, or they would have opted out at that point. So the time, that's why you can't do this for two months and expect to get results that quickly.
True on all those points. I would give it a year, or don't commit to it. You'll see a return on investment certainly within 6 months, but give it a year. When I talk to agents about kind of our system, new or experienced agents, it's basically 3 steps is what I do, and I encourage anybody else to do it too. Generate lots of leads. Lots and lots of leads. If you think of your sales funnel, make that top of the funnel big. And the best way we do that is BuyerLink. I mean, you can have traffic immediately this afternoon coming to your site, and they'll be high quality. As I said before, our registration rate with HomeGain is 16% versus Yahoo, and we've done Yahoo, MSN, Google. We still do a lot of that stuff just to kind of fill in, but they're generally about a third of the registration. On a good month, they're half. So step 1, get lots of leads. Step 2, find out what they're doing. And that's our kind of big brother thing. I like to see what they're doing online. You need some technology to do that, but I want to be able to see what they're doing so that I have that something relevant to say when I call. And step 3 is call. Make the call. And step 4, if there's a 4, is repeat. So just get lots of leads, find out what they're doing, call. You can't fail if you just remember those 3 things. You will generate commission dollars.
And you'll start right away. I mean, it's amazing how quickly this works. I'll just hear a real quick story, then I'm going to go to questions and answers. I had a brand new agent start for me. I think he's with me 9 weeks now. I think it was 8 weeks last week when I was telling the story. 9 weeks. And I love agents that never sold anything before. They're my favorite because they don't know anything but to follow my system. Interesting stat in my office, by the way. My top 12 agents had 0 experience when I hired them. My bottom 12 have 4 years or more. Tells the whole story. But Roger's a great guy. Probably out of the group that I hired, the least likely I thought to succeed. And by the way, out of that 5 I hired, he's the only one I kept. And so far, he has had 3 closings and has 5 contracts on the board. All from BuyerLink. In 2 months. I mean, that's how powerful this stuff is that we're telling you today. And again, you're hearing it from people that do this every day. We're not trying to sell you any products up here. So I think we'll take, unless you guys have anything else to say, questions and answers. And any questions for any of us, just ask which person and ask the question, and don't be shy in the back there. My background is affiliate marketing with the internet back in 95, 96. What we started doing is with our local people, and BrevardCounty.com was our first one. I'm going after the big people. I don't want the guy that gets 100 people to his site every month. I'm looking at people that are large. And basically what we're working out with them is they're trying to build a database. This is what they're getting out of it. I guess I said I don't know what they're getting, but this is what they're getting. They're trying to build their own database because the bigger their database, the more advertising they can sell, like anything else. So what we worked out is we became their search engine on their website. So if you go to BrevardCounty.com and click on real estate, you're going to come to my site. Now, nobody knows it's my site except for the little disclaimer that says powered by Tropical Realty, because you have to legally do that. And people will go on there and register. We did a test run of it a couple of months ago, and we got about, I want to say, 30 to 40 leads a month when we tested it. We're refining it now. And on top of that, we're becoming the blogging experts on that. So not only are we going to be on their site, and all we did was take a copy of our search engine, our IDX, and a lot of your IDXs may not be able to do this, and you probably need to change IDX systems if that's the case. But basically, if you can create multiple IDX forms on your site, you just put it into their site through I'm not going to get into tech terms here, and then when people go there, you're framed into their site. You can do that with anybody, whether it's through actually being a search engine like that or being a link. Look at properties in Florida. It's really a no-brainer. And so we were really excited when we did the test run on it and got 30 to 40 leads in a month from it, zero cost. And actually, it's kind of funny. Most of them are local leads, which are nice to get for us too, because we usually have to wait for our people to come down. Had my partner in the software company build me a temporary thing. The biggest key is being able to send out those couple of letters that I told you. We never did anything but that. But also when you have a software system, like Dave's or like mine, you can go in and see exactly what they're doing. So we talked about that first phone call and how important it is, and not knowing what to talk about. When you know what you sent them, if you sent them a list of properties, and you don't need the software to send them a list of properties, but you'll send them a better list if you know what they're searching for. But you'll have something to talk about. I sent you a list of properties a little while ago. Did you get it? Was it really what you're looking for? Let's talk about what you're looking for. If you don't have that ability, send it through the MLS. Everybody's MLS here has the ability to set up people in listing updates, right? Prospecting. Everybody has that now. Send them through there. The limitations you have and the problems with that it can be very costly to you down the road, meaning when the MLS changes systems, which we know happens. It happened to us, and I lost 10,000 people. We had to re-input into a system. It cost me about $80,000 in time and effort and money. That doesn't travel to the next MLS in most cases. And a lot of MLSs limit you to 250 people in the prospecting tool. So if that's one of your cases, you're going to have to come up with a solution soon. Most of the products out there that are decent are relatively inexpensive. There are a few that are, they call themselves high-end. They charge you for it, but I don't really believe they're high-end.
I use Birdview Technologies, and Birdview does a lot of pretty snazzy things. I mean, it's not for, well, I don't know. I guess it could take a lot of clients, but it sends out the daily MLSs as they come up, the daily reports. Or listings as they come on. It sends out the drip campaign. It's all there. You can see what the people have visited, what they have looked at. You can see which listings they've been sent. It's a very inexpensive product. I think I'm paying $79 a month. But that's not the only product out there. It just happens to be one I chose to use because it works really well with the team. Because, again, it allows you to either assign the people as they sign on or automatically do it in rotation as they sign on. So that's the kind of system you can use, and you're pretty much hands-off from it.
Yeah, it really is. And whether, I don't want to get up here promoting software because it's not what we're here for. But whatever you do is an investment. And if you do it correctly from the beginning, I'm telling you this from experience, by the way, it's much more seamless as you grow. When I didn't do it from the beginning, it was a nightmare. When I had to switch into the system that I'm using now, it was a nightmare. It was very costly and very difficult. I wished I'd built the software, 7 years ago, but I had no clue what I was doing back then. Wayne?
We have an idea of what our net conversion rate is, which is we strive for a 2% conversion rate, which is and we're these days a little below that. The reason why I say we know about what it is because it's constantly changing. It's not the database is never fixed, and the closings don't stop. So you never really know exactly what the number is. So because of that 6-month lag, somebody who registers today is probably going to close 6 months from now. So it's hard to pin it down to an actual number unless you have some other kind of formula.
Actually, the only way I do it, the only way I do it because I don't really want to deal with all the hassles of trying to figure it out. I'm pretty sure how many leads did I get this year? How many sales did I get? And I look at raw leads when I do. We're doing about 4 to 4.5% conversion, and I look at it basically. I don't want to sit there and be too mathematical. My brain doesn't work that way too much anymore. I'm getting old. But how many leads did I capture? How many closings did I have? Because as you've been doing it, I've been doing this for 7 years now. It's all relative. I'm going to show I have my sales from today or from 6 months ago, but it doesn't really matter to me. How about yourself?
Well, I always bring things down to the simplest terms. We get the number we use is for every 15 leads that people make phone calls on, people that give a legitimate phone number, they probably start a meaningful relationship with 1 out of 16, and then they probably sell 1 out of 4. I'm not sure why that is, why it's only 1 out of 4 when they've had some relationship, but that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that's pretty standard in the industry, by the way. 1%, 2% is pretty much 2% strong. I mean, for most people, I really kind of think your rates go up the more your agents buy into the system. And if your broker's here, the hardest part you're going to have doing this is getting your agents to buy into the system. They're so adept or using old school real estate, and we're not there anymore. Look at your neighbors around you that are failing, that aren't making any money in this market. Again, my market is horrendous. Some would say it was, besides Detroit, probably some of the worst real estate market in the country, and we've grown our company every year, good 20%. So, yeah. Any other?
Following up on that, I came out of the Zip Realty world, and 1%'s about average, I would say. So 1% of the raw leads, registrations.
Yeah, that's raw leads, by the way. Raw meaning every person that registers, whether they're good, bad, evil, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a great point. Wayne's comment was that he thinks that the HomeGain net conversion rate is probably higher because of the steps they have to go through, and there's probably some truth to that. I think that it seems kind of anti-consumer to make it difficult, but and it's not really difficult. It's just a couple extra steps. But those who do kind of follow through on that are certainly more committed and have a higher probability of transacting there.
Yeah.
And if I could just add one more thing, the quality of the people that are making the phone calls for you is huge. I mean, like you say, I have some folks that are just great folks, and then I've had some people that were just really bad at it. I mean, you have people that when you send them one, it's Yahoo, there's somebody to call. And then there's the other people that, oh my gosh, I have to make this call. I mean, that makes a big difference in the conversion rate.
Sure. And we have, in our office, we have so many agents, and the ones, it's so easy to see the ones who are successful. Everybody gets the same leads. There's no difference between leads. We don't cherry pick. The only thing we've separated is high-end people go to only our luxury home specialist. But the agents who don't do well have about 3 or 4 sales this year. My agents that do well have over 15. The only difference is the phone call. And they'll tell me that. Do you make your phone calls? No. I told you this is all about making phone calls. I know, but I'm afraid. And then you're not going to be working here anymore. Sorry, I love you too. But yeah. Any other questions? Actually, we're doing a test right now on that with a company called Lead Qual, which some of you might have heard of. One of our members, the eHomes Realty Network, is in Virginia, Chris Antonelli, and he uses them to make all his first phone calls. And his business is booming because of that. We're going to test it right now. We have a lead coordinator, lead conversion administrator, we call her, LCA, like our acronyms. And what we used to do up until about December, up until 2 months ago, is she would make all the first phone calls. And there really wasn't a difference between my successful agents and my agents who were under her. And I actually gave her some of my weaker agents, figuring that was their weakness. And so 2 months ago, I either had two choices, either end the program, but I love the girl, she's great, so I said, let's figure out a better way. And we changed it now so she makes all the follow-up calls for her. She has 5 agents that work under her during our test. And their sales are amazing now. I mean, when I talk amazing, I'll give you a quick example. Debbie, who had 8 sales this year, has 7 closings this month. She's doubling her business in 1 month because of this call system. Julie's had 6 sales this year. She's been struggling. Right? She's got 6 sales this month. Crazy. So we really learned it was a very expensive lesson for me. But the lead qual system, they call instantly, which is why I struggle with testing it, but I think I'm going to. But they do qualify the lead. They do find out if they're actually buying a home or not. Lead qual. Yeah. I could not tell you.
They're local here. Brad mentioned Andrew Coleman as one of the HomeGain guys, and he's the co-founder of Lead.
Oh, okay, yeah. Him and Glenn Hulk, I think. Yeah, Glenn's a good guy. Good people. And it's about $5 a call. So very affordable. Of course, it's a little expensive for me at 1,500 leads a month, but if it's making conversions, and by the way, don't worry about cost so much on stuff. Everybody's all worried about money. You don't spend. I know.
Forget it.
It does. It drives me crazy. Everything's about but honestly, if I could find 100 qualified agents, I'd spend $100,000 a month on BuyerLink. There's not that much traffic in my area, but if there was, I would. And it's not about money. It's about return on investment. It's running a business. I know I've said this 5 times to you guys. It's running a business. How much do I spend? How much do I make? I spend $6,000 or $7,000 a month with BuyerLink, sometimes less. And on my bad months, I generate $100,000. On my good months, we do $150,000, $160,000. It's a no-brainer, right? Any other questions?
I think that's actually, we should probably wrap up at this point. Our next speaker will be Brian Kincaid talking about Agent View, exposure, blogs, and listings. So thanks very much for the panelists.
Right, thanks, guys.